Work culture, work-life balance?
That really differ. I mean, it really depends. So, speaking of myself, I'm working for a multinational company here in Korea. So, I'm kind of enjoying really good work-life balance myself. But it's not for everybody here in Korea. So, it really depends on the type of the company where you are, whether you are working for a multinational company or Korean conglomerate or small or mid-sized company or even mom and pop shops. So it really differ. But the culture-wise, Korea is sometimes quite conservative. And it's like still we have those we culture, not me culture. So this kind of we cultures we have. So once you are it takes time and efforts to get inside, but once you are accepted, then you are really the part of the family and you are really taking good care. But this is sort of part of those Asian cultures, right? Yeah, but we also have these cultures here in Korea. But I'm old guy, so I'm not quite sure of the millennials or Gen Z. So as I understand, the Gen Zs are the same everywhere in this world. So they are individual. They they search for the fairness. They would like personal personal things, and they like the data and things. So I think it's quite universal. But so in that generation, they are pretty much the same everywhere. But generations like me, Korea is a little bit conservative, but we're good. We are warm-hearted people. But it takes time until you find it. And work-life balance. Coming back to the work-life balance. So let's say Samsung, LG, all those Korean conglomerate, they still have this kind of military cultures, ajashi cultures. So they are kind of very strict sometimes. But recently they are also changing because they are getting the Gen Zs and millennials are getting in, and they are totally changing the work cultures everywhere here in Korea as well.
Yeah. Well, actually, Korea was very notorious in like a work-life balance. Yeah, notorious. I had like more than 20 years background in financial fields, and I worked in like a Hyundai, Samsung, and other multinational bank before. And talking about my experiences working in Hyundai, at that time I was an investment analyst. I went to work before 7:30 in the morning and finished it around 11
p.m.
Yeah, p.m. But it was like 20 years ago. And Korean government knew that, so they made new rules not to make employees work too much. So, and the Korean government push it like a big conglomerate like Samsung, Hyundai, SK, then they need to keep the rule. So nowadays, even though the generation like us are not used to that kind of a culture, but Korean like Gen Z, they are used to it now. So they go to work like before 9 o'clock and finish it like around 6. Then they can enjoy their private life after that.
Yeah, so I have to say, all in all, now we're good, right? Because the government has just pressing on those 52 hours work week everywhere, so we're good.
But not even so, not all the cases are like that. Even though, like in the case of the big companies, still like an old culture. They still have that kind of old culture, and seniors work like till 10 or 11. Then the juniors, they are like see what's happening, and then they're not sure whether I can leave work or not. There's some work cultures like that. Still, we have those kind of culture in some companies. And in the case of like small companies, they have like a worse work-life balance comparing to the big companies. Because Korean government don't really push the small companies because, well, the small companies need to survive in the market. So they can't really keep those kind of rules. But even so, well, we need to like pay the overtime charge, and we need to keep like the rules like make our employees like work less than 52 hours a week, like that.
You can feel the blow even though you're working for small or mid-sized companies. And you know, in my cases, it's the managers who are working like a dog, and the juniors are, you know, always 9 to 6 basis. So
it can be very different in the case of companies. Even well, under the umbrella of the same company,
yeah, it depends.
depending on the division or team, you may have the different culture.